Hi. Today's going to be really cool. You want to know why? Because it's going to be a chat. It's going to be a conversation. I want to give you a little bit about what we're chatting about first. So, when Ernest Holmes was asked what to pray for, what he said was, and I'm going to quote this, he answered by saying, "We can pray for anything that brings more life and harms no one." Anything that brings more life and harms no one. So this approach works for power as well. Am I using my power to bring more to life? Does my expression of power harm others? How can I use my personal power in a more life-sustaining way? Right? So Emma Curtis Hopkins. Now, Emma Curtis Hopkins taught Ernest Holmes. She was his teacher. She was what we call the teacher of teachers in metaphysical New Thought. And she taught that when we make an agreement with our higher power, whatever it is you want to call it, I don't care, love, Frank, I don't care. Whatever you want to call it, we relinquish the need to force or manipulate our outcomes, instead committing to do what is ours to do. Yeah, so that's our power that we're going to speak about today. So I'm going to invite Reverend Tanya to come up. We're going to share the floor today. Yay! I'm going to get this out of the way.
We've been looking forward to this.
I'm going to stand on this side so I can watch the clock and you don't have to trip over these. So, right?
Yes.
Right, thank goddess. So between us, we figured out we have 53 years of teaching the principles of science of mind. 53 years.
That's a long time.
That is a really long time.
Yeah, that's us. I'm older than that even.
No, you're not.
Are you older than that?
I am.
Oh.
That means I've been teaching this my whole life, right?
Yes.
There we go. There we go. So, based on our topic of the month, power to the people, our today's subject is our personal power. So we thought it would be fun that we'd ask each other questions based on our experiences and the visions for Center for Spiritual Living. Remember, we are not just one small group. We are a community that's worldwide. So, do you want to start with your first question that you had?
Sure. My first question was to define the very topic we're talking about, right? So what does power mean to you?
Great, I get the first question. What does power mean to me? All right, so for me, power is when I connect to that part of myself. When you go that 10-inch journey, that really long journey from head to heart.
I know that place.
Yeah, you know that place? That's when I can go between the two. When I can tap into this part of me, that's when I'm tapping into my power. That I'm going to say God source, but love source, spirit source. I'm going to turn that question on you.
Yes.
So
Emerson said, get the bloated nothingness out of the way.
yes.
And so what I find is that when I really want the answer to something, I mean, really want the answer, I have to stop. I stop and I center and I ask the part of me that knows, that larger part, the God part. So I go to the power of the universe when I want to know about something, really know.
Okay. So that leads me to my next question. How do you recognize that voice and how does it feel?
It presents itself. But more than that, I calm down.
Oh,
Everything is quiet inside. I become receptive. And whatever I'm told by the part of me that knows, that's what I call it, the part of me that knows all things, whatever I'm told, it's like a nickel, is that made out of silver or nickel, right? And you can just, is this real gold or not? And it's always real gold. I recognize it because it does this. Ding.
oh, kind of like this.
Yeah. It does that. It's a resonance field. Yeah. That's how I recognize that, the power within. It announces itself. So how about for you? How do you show up in the world by using your power for good?
This is my favorite, because I like to do this every day, everywhere I go. I show up in the world using my power for good by smiling at people in the grocery store line. I love to wave at the UPS and FedEx drivers as I pass them on the highway. I just put up my hand and wave. They always wave back. They always wave back, right? You know, I live on a golf course.
Right?
So when I leave in the morning, I wave at the golfers, and they always wave back. Right now, it's a disc golf tournament going on. Those people don't wave back. It's really weird. I want them to wave back. That's right. I'm still waving at them anyway. They think I'm the crazy lady driving down the road, and I am totally okay with that. It's, you know, when I used to commute in the Bay Area and I would go over the Dumbarton Bridge back when it was $1 or $2 to go over the bridge, I always kept extra money in my car. And on Fridays, I would pay for the car behind me. Why? Because somebody did that for me. And I thought, you know what? I can come up with an extra $1. It went up to $5. I can't afford that anymore. But I could afford an extra $1 once a week. So how I show up is by being available to people and expressing my love and being a part of the law of circulation in every way I possibly can. I want to ask you,
Okay.
how do you, so Ernest Holmes taught that when we use the power of our own good, it's not selfish, but rather it's an essential aspect of our spiritual journey. So when we nurture and empower ourselves, we radiate that energy outward, right? And when we do that, it uplifts others and contributes to the greater good. So Reverend Tanya, how do you nurture and empower yourself?
That's easy. I stop.
Oh.
I stop and I usually go out in my front yard because I live on 2.5 acres of gorgeousness. And I watch the deer, I watch the birds, I listen to my bees drinking water out of the fountain next to me. And frankly, I watch the gophers move on, moving the grass heads, right? I just get fully present in the here and now, and I unfurl. And you know what happens when you unfurl? You can't hold on to all the crap.
Right.
It just drops, right? So I get into present tense, I get into the all that is, and I just stay present in what actually is existent and not stuff made up in my head, but actually exists. I tap into the power of the Earth Mother, the power of the goddess, the power of God itself.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. You want to ask me a
Oh,
question,
yeah,
either this one or one of these that you had?
Okay. Well, this is a little similar. How do you use your power?
Hopefully for good. I shared in the class last week that when I first started coming to the center, I couldn't afford $0.25 a week. That my minister asked me to give up 1 Starbucks a week, and I thought, I'm not gonna tell you what I thought, but I couldn't afford 1 Starbucks a week or a month, let alone giving one up. And I was angry. I was angry.
That's a power.
Yeah, that's a power. That's a really big power. Boy, everybody around me could hear it or feel it. And then I was challenged to donate $0.25 a week until that felt just way too easy, and then add a little bit more. I used that power of circulation to create a different experience around myself and my money. That's a way I've used the power. I've used the power to shift relationships with people, right? I use the power to shift my relationship with myself. Oh my gosh. Anybody ever done that before? Shift the relationship with yourself, right? So I use that power, again, I hope mostly for my good, so that I can walk with it every day and it can shift people around me. You know, I'm going to share a quick story. I used to walk through campus at work, And I had people that would stop me and say, Eileen, what are you doing? What do you mean, what am I doing? I say, you seem so happy in a job that is so grinding away at us. And I'd say to them, well, first off, I took a break from my desk and my computer and I left, I may have my phone in case of an emergency, but I'm going for a walk. I'm taking care of myself.
Power walk.
The power walk, right? I'm just going to walk from one end of campus to the other. And what I would find is that as I would see people along the way, because then I became the person that hugs at work, people would seek me out. Eileen, I heard you were walking. Can I have a hug? Right? I already was taking care of myself, and that energy started to move around. Other people that were not huggers would like seek me out.
Your secret power.
My secret power. So that's one of the things. So what about you? How do you use it for good in the world? We don't want to hear the other side.
Oh, boy, I use my power for good by listening to what that good is. So Emerson, get your bloated nothingness out of the way.
Right.
I hate to admit how many times I have to get the bloated nothingness out of the way in order to find what is mine to do. And so when I find what is mine to do in a situation, I simply say yes to it, and I let the power that knows how do the work. And then it's got no contamination from ego or shoulda-bes, wannabes, or anything like that. It's just, it's mine to do, so I do it. And that which knows how to do it within me does it for me.
Right.
So it's that simple and it's that hard.
Right. I'm going to ask you this one.
Sure. The vision for Centers for Spiritual Living is a world that works for everybody. We are using power, aren't we? How can we, each of us, participate in that? How do you participate in that?
Okay, so I shared some of those, but how can we as a community participate in that is what I was thinking was, who here is passionate about making people feel welcome and safe? I know you do a brilliant job at that.
You do. It's one of your
Right?
superpowers, girl.
Yeah, it's one of Catherine's superpowers, right? And Janet, that's the people that we want greeting and ushering people that walk in the door. We'd love to see somebody at the door welcoming people in every Sunday. Just saying hello, welcome, we're glad to see you, right? It's people who want to participate in a compassionate care team, right? We have people that are taking care of people, giving them a ride to church. Or if there's people that need food, putting together a food train, meal train, that's what it's called. It's people who love working with kids, being ready to welcome the children in. It's if you're a musician or if you love music, share with us those talents or those that you know. I have been meeting some incredible people in the last week. Just because people have been introducing me to people around town. Oh my gosh, I know there are people here who love pets, right? An animal ministry would be amazing. Like these are the things that I would love to see us putting out there so we can support our community.
Our Seva.
Our Seva, right. And we start with each other. How about the environment? I know that's something that's really passionate for Shelley. And having all of her knowledge here is important. So how can we use our passions to make shifts in the world? That's what I'm always asking myself, what can I do? And when I couldn't afford that quarter a week, boy, I tell you, I was in my church every day. How can I be of service today? What do you need done today? Because I knew that I could give from my time.
You wanted to create flow.
I wanted to create flow, so that's how I started it.
Giving creates flow.
Yeah.
And we can all go to the food, the Noyo Bistro on the 16th. And that's a win-win-win-win.
Right, we can all go to
Okay,
the
then.
Royal Bistro on the 16th, and that's a win-win-win-win-win. I just got a dinner date. I think I probably have a lunch and breakfast date too, but I don't know. If I said yes to you, let me know. You want to go to your question. How do you recognize power in others?
Ooh, that's a good question. Sure. I think we recognize power when we see it, don't we?
Yeah.
And you may not even know you're recognizing it, but a dandelion coming up through a crack in the sidewalk, if that don't make you stop and recognize power, you're just not paying attention,
Right.
you know? And so I recognize power in others when I see them being themselves. Because the truth is the power of the universe flows through each one of us. And because we're all absolutely unique, like every star in the universe, you know, there is no point where we all have an individualized point. And because we're made out of God's stuff, and God is the power of the universe, we're made out of the thing itself, each one of us has a particular power. That as we allow it and nurture it, it shines.
Yeah.
Power, when people are using their power for abundance, for flourishing, they shine when they're in that element, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like this girl right here, when she's in service, nobody lights up more than anybody else on this planet.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a shining that happens when people are in their power, doing what is theirs to do. That's how I see it.
Well, and we see the big names that shine in their power. Oprah, right? Michelle Obama. Who else that's contemporary today?
Obama's help.
Yeah, Barack. Who else is shining in their power today? Who else are you seeing?
Harris and Waltz.
Yeah, political figures.
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely, right? There are people that Dolly Parton, man, that woman, I think she's aging backwards. But there are people that they make a career out of it, yes. But that doesn't mean that we can't make a shift in the world, each and every one of us, by what it is that we do. So, Reverend Tanya, I want to know, why does it matter?
Why does power matter?
Why does power matter?
Oh, you know, I love rocks, guys. I really do. You know, gems are beautiful, but they kind of sit there. And power is something that makes movement. And I know you can use gems for the power that is inherent within them. Each one of us has a power within each one of us. And that God is individualized through each one of us. So that power that is in everything you see, from the diamond to the trees, to ourselves, it is the thing itself, the life force itself moving through us. We call it our power, but really it is the power.
Right.
And when that power comes through into expression, it is, as they say, good and very good.
Yeah.
And it belongs, and I believe it has an urge to be expressed in the world.
Yes.
It's expression in an ever expanding universe. This is an expressive universe. It's ever expanding, and it wishes to be expressed. It wishes to be felt. It wishes to be seen. It wishes it beyond wishes. It has chosen by its very nature to affect all parts of itself by its presence, because there's only one there. It's the only thing that's fun. Okay, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun to let your power shine, let your light shine.
Right.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I have time for maybe 2 questions. Does anybody have a question on this subject that's burning? Yes, Shelley.
As usual, it's not a question, it's a comment. I see power as potential expression with correlated potential effect. And I think what we're seeing in our world right now is force, which is power inflicted on others. And that's unfortunate. What Tanya expressed about getting power from
I'll
nature
repeat this for those online.
is the life force. force. Power essentially comes from our life force, and then what is ours to do with it?
Okay, so I'm going to shorten this really quick. How, considering some examples of misuse of power, how can we help change these experiences? Does that work with you, Shelley?
Yeah, I had an experience on Facebook. These things just show up on my Facebook. I have this ad for the Women's March.
Right.
Well, it seems like the Women's March is really about,
So I think I get what you're going at, where sometimes you see ads and stuff that claim to be one thing, but they feel like there might be an underlying, intention behind it.
Yeah.
So, considering that there are some misuses of power, how can you help change these experiences, Tanya?
Integrity. Misuses of power are always something that's out of integrity. And the way we stay in integrity is realize there's only one here. What you do to others, you do to yourself. That there's only one interconnected whole here. And that's what keeps power working towards good. And when we don't understand that, we think that we can rip somebody else off and not be ripping ourselves off. And that's kind of the bottom line, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm singing in my head, there is only one of us. In your eyes, it's me I see. That's what I'm singing in my head. When I see something like that, when it stirs something up with me, I go into prayer. I go into affirmative prayer because
That's where the power lies.
that's where the power lies, right? I go into prayer. I don't watch the news much. I rarely watch the news except for kind of to check on the pulse of things. But when I do, I see the news. Here's what I've taught people. The news is the news because it's the exception. It's not the norm. So when I turn on the news, I am ready to pray. I have prayed before I've walked into the room to turn on the news. I sit down on my sofa and I pray, and then I push the button. I don't watch the news or go on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram or any of that until I've prayed first. And then when I see something that bothers me, I go into prayer. Yeah, I think we have time for one more. Yes, Sylvia.
What do you do when you find yourself outside of your own power?
What do you do when you find yourself outside of your own power? Can I start with that one? Stop, drop, and pray.
And you said one a few weeks ago to pause for peace.
Pause for peace, right, from my talk a couple of weeks ago. I stop, drop, and pray. And sometimes I need somebody to remind me of that. That's what prayer partners are for, by the way, and practitioners and ministers. I have them all in my life. I don't show up just as Eileen. I come with a whole posse, right? And they're the people that tell me to stop, drop, and pray. How about you?
I was reading Ernest Holmes on this one, and he made it really clear. There's only one power. There's only one power in the universe, and we partake of that. So when I'm feeling out of my power, I return to source. And I realize that we're all individualized expressions of the power of the universe. And I consciously connect myself to the power that animates me and allow it to move through me into manifestation. When I don't know and when I feel powerless, I have to reset myself that there's only one power here. And it's moving and operating through each one of us. And the one thing that I can do is say yes or no because of free will, right? I can pretend it's not there. I'm helpless, I'm so helpless, right? I can do that. And the universe is like, oh, that's so fun, right? Well, I'm going, I'm miserable. Right? And so when I drop that one, I go right back to being the center of the universe, as each one of us are. And the power of the universe resides right where I am because God's all there is. So I go back to the truth.
Yeah, I love that. Let's close with a prayer. I will do the first two steps, go into the third, and then I'm going to pass it to you to do a third and Thanksgiving and release. How's that? All right, let's pray.
Let's play.
Let's play. Let's play with prayer. Oh, so just drop your gaze or close your eyes, whatever works for you. Take a deep breath and know with me that there is only one. There is one power, one presence, one energy that moves in, through, and around each and every one of us. It is everything that we can touch, taste, and feel. It is all that there is and more. It's not just one thing. It's not just us. It is us and. Science has proven that we are all made from the same thing, that the elements that reside in our bodies are the same elements that reside in this microphone. They're the same elements in this podium. They're the same elements in the dogs and the cats and the birds and the salamanders and the rocks in the ocean. We're all one. We're all one. And knowing that to be the truth, I know that we are divinely connected to that source that goes by many names. I call it God, divine presence, love, universal power. Universal power. We are all that and more. Because there is no place where it stops and we start. We walk in concert together with it. And knowing this to be the truth, I know that each person that hears my voice can stand in their own power of that connection, their own power of that knowingness, their own power of abundance, because it's all there. It's all there. As we open our minds, we open our hearts, we open ourselves to all that there is. There is no lack in this world. There is no lack of love. There is an abundance of love. There is an abundance of joy. There is an abundance of laughter. There is an abundance of health and peace. And I welcome it. I welcome it into this space. And I pass my word.
So let each one of us right here and right now ground ourselves into the power that holds us on this planet. Ground ourselves into the power that creates the oxygen we breathe, the water we drink, the gravity that holds us. And let each one of us here make a decision to open, completely open, totally let go. You do not need to hold on to be held in place, your place on the planet here. And as you let go, you can open so wide and extend out as far as you wish. And you are always held in the arms of love. That is the consciousness that joins us all together in wholeness. So as we allow ourselves to feel the power that comprises us, holds us, informs us, feel the effortlessness of saying yes to that itself. Let it all go. You need do nothing but say, yes, hold me, inform me, hold me. It's that easy. It is that simple. It is that joyous. And it is that yes. So in saying yes to the way it is, we say yes to life, and we say yes to the goodness that has already been given, and now we've decided to receive it all. And in the receiving, it is done. And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you, Reverend Campbell. I love you.